Okay, so today we are at the end of Clap Saddle Road, south of town. I'll show you how to get here at the end of the video, but we are actually going towards most likely the least visited place in the entire Gettysburg battlefield area. We are going to what's known as the Lost Avenue, Neill Avenue, which is actually the extreme right of the Union Army. Now, I did a test run with this 2 or 3 days ago, and wasn't sure exactly which way to go. So, back here now, because basically once you get there, the first time you get there, after the words, it's actually relatively easy to find once you know what you're looking for. So, when you park at the end of the road, basically want to come straight, and you want to make sure you're not blocking the driveway, because there is a driveway right behind there. There is this right here. This basically is a pointer in the right direction. Another landmark is this fallen tree right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the trail that's straight, because there are several different trails in this area, but take the one that goes straight. I'm pretty sure I just startled some deer. But anyway, there's a reason you want to take a specific trail, and that's because this whole area is surrounded by private property. The trail itself is owned by the Park Service, but it is very narrow. And actually, this is probably the narrowest part it's going to be. It does get a little bit, it does stay narrow for a good while, but you want to make sure that you stay on it. And it's actually sort of easy to follow, because as you can see, it's sort of like a stream, so there's rocks and stuff. So as long as you follow the stones and the rocks, you're basically on the right path. Another way that will help you, and we'll see it in just a little bit, you will see private property signs on the trees, and they line both sides of the trail, and it goes the whole way down. Like right there's one. Okay, so like I said, you want to stay on the trail. Don't divert off. There's actually some that it kind of branches out, but as long as you stay on this one, you'll be perfectly fine. There's some other landmarks that you should look for, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm just gonna go above this. Ugh. So, this is actually better than what I did than when I came down here the other day. It was actually pretty small because it just rained a couple days before that and stuff. So, this actually isn't too bad today. So this shouldn't take too long. Anyway, like I said, here's the no trespassing signs. And there's another one. So both sides of the trail, like I said, are clearly marked. But either way, you want to take your time going down this, because it can be a little bit treacherous. But for the most part, it's not too horrible. It has its moments. Actually, once you get the closer you get to the avenue, the better it gets and stuff. But this is all downhill, so this is relatively easy in a sense. But so I'm just gonna keep following this. Like I said, posted signs the whole way, but as long as you stay on this main part, you will not be bothered, because like I said, this is parkland, and this very narrow strip is technically parkland. Now, this area was actually some not heavy fighting, but there was some fighting in this area, but for the most part, it's very small fighting. We're actually trying to see if I can find. Yeah. Okay, there is a little opening out over there. Right there. That is the general area of where we're heading. So, just gotta keep going. We should be coming down to a turn about maybe 30 yards or so. I actually just heard about this site about a week or two ago. Never knew it existed until now, and of course I like to have thought that I've been over every part of the battlefield at least once. Well, I was dead wrong, to say the least. I'm glad I was wrong, to be honest with you, because it's actually pretty neat to find stuff that you never knew that even existed. Okay, so this is one of the trails I'm talking about that kind of diverts. Don't go there. Do not. Okay? So stay on this. It gets a little sketchy here because it's not really maintained. And that's not really anybody's fault. It's just because it's just so narrow and not many people really visit it. Do be careful. This is probably the worst part of the trail. At least I thought when I came here the other day. Other than that, it didn't seem too horrible. I honestly don't remember that tree being down, but hey, maybe it was. Yeah, it gets, you got some holes and stuff here. But like I said, you keep following the rocks, you'll be fine. You probably hear the creek in the distance. We are actually not too far from Rock Creek. We're actually not too far. We won't be extremely far from Spangler Spring, but there's no way to get here from the actual battlefield side. You actually have to go down to the towards Baltimore Street exit by the outlets. But like I said, I'll show you how to get here and stuff at the end of the video. Right now we're trying to get here without killing ourselves. But anyway. Okay, we're actually coming down to where you definitely need to pay attention next, because this can get a little tricky, because this trail splits off into about 3 or 4 different ones. You have one that goes straight down to Rock Creek, you have one that goes to the right, and you have one that goes to the left. Now, part of the thing that's going to help you know where you're going is that right there. National Park Service boundary marker. So that's going to help you. So, once we get down here, there's going to be another thing that you definitely need to look for. If you don't find it, you're in trouble. Okay, so right here is where 3 different, well, 4, I guess if you count that one. But this is where several different trails converge. Right over there is Rock Creek. Okay? So, this orange marker right here, this is the one thing you definitely need to find. If you have gone to the creek, you've gone too far. You are on private property, you need to turn around. That's private property. What you need to do as soon as you get to this orange marker, you need to make a hard left. And we need to go up this trail. Now this is where the trail really gets nice. Again, it's still private property on both sides. So please stay on the trail and you won't be bothered. Oh, and another thing, I don't recommend coming here around deer season. Because I did, when I was here the other day, I did startle a few deer, and I have seen a good bit of deer tracks. So being that this is surrounded by private property, I do not recommend coming around deer season. Okay, we're actually almost there. Sort of in Tree C, a monument. It'll get better once we get up here. Here's a little stream. So where we're at in regards to the battle, we were actually in the Wolf Hill area, which was, hold on, I gotta get my bearings right. A little bit southeast of Culp's Hill and Spangler Spring area. Now, when Meade deployed his forces on July 2nd of 1863, Union formation was in a fishhook, with the left flank supposed to be at Little Round Top, which would eventually be at Little Round Top, I should say, and the right flank in this area. Now, there was attacks on Culp's Hill, and that was commanded by 12th Corps of General Slocum. Well, this right here, and we're actually coming up to it, it's right around this bend here. Here we are, Neill Avenue. So, like I said, this is the right flank of the Union Army. Whew. That's some climb up that last little hill. Anyway, so you can tell it's kind of not visited much. I mean, the sign's a little dirty. I mean, but that comes with the territory. Now, we are still on park property, but both sides of the stone wall are private. So, don't venture off this. Okay? So, 49th New York Infantry. Right here was the position of Neill's brigade. So, when they came up, they actually came up from Manchester, Maryland. They did a forced march, 30 some odd miles, to get to where they need to be in the center of the Union line. Problem was, they were ordered to Powers Hill, which was behind the lines, and then ordered back and forth. There was marching and counter-marching before they were placed on the Union right. They were actually in the 6th Corps under General Sedgwick, but when they were deployed, they were placed under the command of the 12th Corps of General Slocum. So here was where Neill's brigade was. There was actually two brigades in that division. It was Grant's brigade and Neill's brigade. And they actually had the least amount of casualties in the entire battle. Grant's brigade actually only had one man wounded, whereas Neill's brigade suffered around 15 casualties. Now, when they got here, this was basically not too crazy. Now, over that way, which we're going to go over this way, Ferris would have came from that direction. Okay, so there was some skirmishing in the early morning of July 3rd with elements of the Confederate Army, and judging by the positions of the Confederate Army, they probably would have came in contact with skirmishers of the infamous Stonewall Brigade under Walker. I did read something about more specifically the 2nd Virginia, but I don't know that for sure. Either way, it was Walker's brigade at one point or another. Other than that, with a few shots fired between skirmishers and sharpshooters, not really much happened up here. Because, I mean, it wasn't extremely hard, but I can only imagine what it would have been like back then during the battle. So we're actually going to go up. We're going to keep going. Right here, right down there was the 7th Maine. Right here will be the 43rd New York Infantry. I actually thought originally this marker here was the end of it, and then I realized that there's something else up the hill. There's kind of a big gap in between the 43rd New York and the 61st Pennsylvania, which, according to this, the 77th New York was possibly at that position in that gap, but I did not see any markers for it as far as flanking or anything like that, unless I might have missed them, which is possible. But right here's where I originally thought that it ended, and I thought that was just like a 4-wheeler trail, and I just happened to look and I saw a monument up there, so that's where we're going to go next. There's a couple trails here and there, and don't go on them. That's still the private property. I've actually heard stories of people getting caught back here and getting questioned by property owners and stuff. I'm kind of surprised I haven't been asked yet. But luckily this time I knew where I was going. There's a flank marker for the 61st Pennsylvania. And this is it. This is the furthest that the Union Army went on the right side. This is the end of the fish hook. Oh, there ran a deer. When I saw it, I don't know. I just happened to catch it when it started running. But anyway, this is the extreme right of the Army of the Potomac. This is the end of the fish hook, right here with the 61st Pennsylvania Infantry. So, it may not look like much, but it's something. It's actually pretty neat to see it, because I've never, like I said, I never heard about it until about a week or two ago. Never even knew it existed. And so it's actually pretty neat to see that there actually is something for the right flank, because I always thought that it was right anchored around Spangler Spring, but it actually extended further off into Wolf Hill. So this is Gettysburg's Lost Avenue. So stick around after this is done. I'm going to show you exactly how to get here. I will warn you though, once you get on the Clap Saddle Road, it does narrow off quickly to about one lane. Almost seems like you're in a driveway, but just take your time. You should be fine. So till next time, we'll see you later. To get to the trailhead, find a Sunoco at the Baltimore Street exit off of Route 15 down by the outlets. There's a road directly beside it called Highland Avenue Road. Turn on that road. Be a little careful because there is some sharp corners on that road. You'll come up to a hard left for a Clap Saddle Road. Turn left on Clap Saddle. Follow that road. It does narrow down to a point where it almost seems like you're in a driveway. Once you get to it comes to a dead end, and once you get to the end, that is where the trailhead is. You'll actually see the fallen tree that we talked about at the beginning of the video. Make sure that you park well enough ahead that you're not blocking the driveway, and this is the way to get into the Lost Avenue the hard way. If you do not want to go that way, I recommend getting in touch with Dean Scholes, who owns land around the Lost Avenue. He is known to guide people up there and has a plethora of information about it. So either way, I would recommend getting in touch with Dean. Hope this helps you, and I hope you all have a safe time finding it.